And another thing, Michael, I'll be appearing at the Cherry Hill.
What are you still talking from yesterday? Back to defend your talk-off win. Bill Plaschke making his debut this week. Tim Clinton, look at that panel. Ooh, you good looking. You're hot. Today, mama.
Yes.
There goes that mama. Serena. One more Wimbledon win from history. Lakers fans, Kobe stands, still holding on to the past. How are they going to act if a championship isn't in LeBron's LA future? And as if the home run derby shouldn't already be a thing of the past, have you seen this year's field? Man, let's go around the horn.
Oh, Bryce Harper got a hit. Show that again. Bryce Harper actually got a hit.
I like a good derby. Hey now, Bill, watch yourself.
It's Around the Horn, the show of competitive banter.
All right, Serena Williams beat Julia Gerges 6-2, 6-4 today and will face Angelique Kerber in Saturday's final, rematch of the 2016 final. The mother of all 25th seeds, Williams said, quote, "It's crazy. I don't even know how to feel. I literally didn't expect to do this well in my fourth tournament back in 16 months. I just feel like when I don't have anything to lose, I can just play so free. That's kind of what I'm doing," close quote. Clinton, start off our appreciation of Queen Serena. 36, a new mom, and a win away from 8 Wimbledons and a record-tying 24th major title.
All right, I have to preface this with one point. Serena Williams is my favorite athlete of all time. I just want everybody to understand that. So when you get into the discussion of the greatest or not, there's that. But I want to make something clear here. What stands out to me the most about this is the fact that she came back from that injury in the French to maintain focus on a tennis level. A lot of people want to get caught up in, oh, she had a baby and she's coming back. Women have babies and come back and do things all the time. That's how history works and why we have continued to save lives as human beings. So while this is obviously a large accomplishment in terms of getting through that part, from a tennis standpoint, something I think we forget a lot about Serena, she has moved back to her form, which is the reason why the WTA and the Tour has decided to change these rules, which is if you're gone for pregnancy, you should not be penalized for that in the rankings. I really do applaud the way she's been able to stay on top of her form and get back to this final.
Tim?
Just putting a little asterisk next to Clinton's disclaimer about people have babies all the time and do things. She did have a difficult pregnancy. She is in her mid-30s, and she's way past the age most women in tennis have any kind of success. Serena piles up these stats. They're like Roger Federer's. Every time you see a stat, you can't believe this one's true. Her latest, she's now won 20 straight matches at Wimbledon. She's had a 20-win streak before. It was 14 years ago. It was from 2002 to 2004. Here she is doing it again. This would be, I think, her greatest championship ever if she pulls it off Saturday.
Woodrow?
Well, just to add a stat there, Tim, those are great, that she's won 10 semifinals in a row, and the only one she ever lost was to a lady named Venus in her first appearance in the semifinals. But just an aside that I thought was fantastic, when the tournament started, she missed her daughter, Alexis Olympia, first steps, and that really bothered her. But she's got her with her and had her out on the grass courts earlier this week, and I think that's fantastic that her daughter that she missed that time for is going to actually see her mother possibly win Wimbledon for the first time. Won't that be fantastic? But she's just set all these records over the years. She is by far the best women's tennis player of all time, the best tennis player of all time, and very possibly the best athlete, men's or women, of all time.
All right.
What an incredible accomplishment.
Bill?
Woody, not very possibly. If she wins this thing, in my mind, she will be the greatest athlete, male or female, ever. And Clinton, you're right, it's been done before. She would be the fourth woman to win a major, fourth mom to win a major in the U.S. Open era. But goodness, 10 months ago she gave birth. 10 months ago. She nearly died. She had 2 operations after giving birth. She was ranked at 181st. She had to fight back from the 25th seed. This is unbelievable. This is unconscionable what she's doing here. I don't think there's any way you can put any kind of asterisk on it or anything. And yes, and what a great standard set for a great example of working moms everywhere. Again, I love the fact that this is a working mom getting credit for all this. And I can't think of a greater athlete, a greater athletic achievement than what she's doing now.
Clinton, last word?
I just want to say quickly that Serena's complications during pregnancy and childbirth are something that affect women of color in this country a lot more than they do a lot of other places, and that highlighted that, so note that as well.
Great point. I love how she said, whatever happens, it's just an incredible effort for me and it's motivation for the rest of my career. We often measure greatness in terms of titles and in terms of tennis, major titles. But this run to the final, regardless of what happens Saturday, is one of those things we remember Serena for and should be added when it comes to conversations about her legacy.
Absolutely.
All right, I'd assume Kobe stands grilled up their beef with LeBron and ate it, or at least put it in the icebox for the next 4 years. Just goes to show some people's petty knows no bounds. So artist Jonas Never opted to cover his mural on a wall at Baby Blue's barbecue restaurant in Venice with white paint Wednesday after this clown went and splattered it with yellow paint. Really, dude? Now, before that, some jokers spray painted, "We don't want you," "No King," and 3 and 6 over that mural. Never said that the mural received a lot of positive feedback, but also tons of pro-Kobe, anti-LeBron responses. Josh Hart tweeted, "This is sad and disrespectful. LA, we are better than this." Are you though? But I should not paint with a broad brush. Bill, the vast majority in LA does seem excited about LeBron's arrival, but can Lakers fans, Kobe loyalists in particular, ever truly come to love LeBron on that level?
Well, yes, Michael, we are a lot better than this. And this was senseless, and it was a horrible thing to happen to a beautiful, beautiful mural. But the key was, and the artist, as the artist said himself, the key was the word "of," the king of L.A. That's what apparently the vandals took offense to. And that is where LeBron stands in his image in L.A. right now, is people will not, they're so worried about protecting of Kobe Bryant's legacy out here, of him being, for this current generation, the king of L.A., that they won't accept LeBron. He'll have to win a championship. Every great Laker icon, except for Elgin Baylor, won a championship. And Elgin retired in the middle of a championship year and got a championship ring. So every Laker icon has a ring on his finger that he won with the Lakers. LeBron is going to have to win at least one championship to ever be fully accepted here. And this senseless, horrible thing that they did, this is an indication of that.
Before we get to Woody, I'm not sure that's fair, Bill. Let me redirect back to you for a second. I don't know if that's fair. Y'all went from begging people just to accept your free agent money to make you relevant again. Haven't been in the playoffs in 5 years, let alone a championship. And you're telling me LeBron has to win a title in order to be legit in LA?
He has 1 year to get his stuff together. Yeah, they're going to give him 1 year, and then they have another free agent opening next year for Kawhi Leonard or Klay Thompson or someone like that. That's when it's got to happen. No, fans here will be happy for a year. You got to win here. To be an icon here, you've got to win a title. That's just the way it is.
Right.
Welcome to pressure, LeBron. This is your life.
What do you say?
Well, L.A. is a hard town. We know that, but those buffoons who actually painted over the mural, that's desecrating art, and that makes no sense whatsoever, and they should be criminalized as a result of it. In regard to LeBron and his legacy, he's already created a legacy. I think winning titles and going to 8 straight finals, I mean, L.A. is saying, oh, yeah, you got to win for us right away. Well, it's quite possible, but I saw a similar situation in Peyton Manning when he came to Denver, and actually they worked very hard, John Elway specifically, to get him one more championship. So I think that's the most critical aspect here. He's got a window of 3 or 4 years, and I think that there's nobody better equipped to do that than Magic Johnson to do what John Elway did in Denver, is to get him that one final championship, or at least a chance at that one final championship.
Tim, you vying with Bill is selling that LeBron has to win a championship in order to be considered a true Laker?
I think he does, only because he's LeBron. I think your question, Michael, was great, that they were begging people to take the money. And let's say Paul George had taken the money and LeBron hadn't come there. If Paul George just got him into the playoffs and made the team interesting, that would probably be enough for him. But this is LeBron James. This is, nine trips to the finals. They're sick of the Warriors, like a lot of people, and they feel like this is what LeBron does. Now, he hasn't done it in the West, and this is going to be his toughest task, certainly with that roster there. But I think for this to really be a successful move on his part, he's got to win one.
Clinton?
There's a couple of things here. As somebody that's very close to the street art community, I find this abhorrent on a lot of levels, that an artist has to paint over their own work to save their own dignity. That pains me on a basic level. As for Lakers fans, I gotta say, I kind of understand this for 2 reasons. Here's the main reason. LeBron pushed Kobe out of not just the greatest Laker discussion in terms of all this other stuff, but the greatest of all time discussion that a lot of people thought Kobe was in with Jordan on some level, until LeBron came along and started dominating things. So there's a 2-pronged realization as far as a lot of fans, basketball fans in LA are concerned. So I get the concern, but if you're the type of person that's going to desecrate art, as Woody put it, you're just a jerk. That has nothing to do with basketball, and it's foul.
Bill, back to you.
Yeah, Michael, part of the issue is when LeBron came in here, he's already picked the team, put a bunch of oddballs around him. He's going to probably coach the team, so the pressure's on him. But Woody, I got to ask you, you can't tell me if Peyton Manning did not win a championship, he wouldn't be considered anything other than a nice little toy they had for a couple of years there, a real Hall of Fame carpetbagger, so to speak. You cannot tell me that he didn't have to win to be considered a Bronco.
That's the point I'm making. I think I'm totally agreeing with you here that they worked very hard. If he'd have just gotten into playoffs and set those records, career records, that he wouldn't be recognized here or throughout the NFL. But he was able to do it twice with two different teams. He won Super Bowls. LeBron's already done it with two teams. If he could do it with a third team, nobody would have ever matched that in terms of greatness.
LeBron's got nothing to prove to anybody. His legacy's already secure. I'm just saying you can't go from begging people to choose you to say yes, and then when they do say, okay, now you got to prove that you deserve us.
After a year. We're giving you a year pass, and you got to prove it. We're giving you a year.
Hey, Bill, where was your invitation to the dinner last night with Pacino and DiCaprio? What happened?
I got one question of this. He's dining with Pacino and DiCaprio. When's he going to dine with Luke Walton? When's he having dinner with Luke Walton? That's what I want to know.
All right. Let's keep it moving. Speaking of being better than this, KD, what are you doing, Playboy? It's one thing to clap back at an established writer or TV talking head, but a 17-year-old on Instagram, first KD jumps in the comment section and burns the kid with go sweep your dorm room and you don't know hoops. But instead of leaving it there, he takes it to the DMs to go back and forth with Bucket Center. And we thought burner accounts was a bad look. Now look, I've had many a dumb Twitter back and forth. But usually, when I find out that I've been beefing with a teenager, I log off and hope that nobody noticed. Tim, why can't KD let stuff like this go? Why does 17-year-old saying he can't elevate a team like LeBron and Steph strike such a nerve with KD?
It's just incredible how this stuff bothers him. And you're right, Michael. Some of us took a few years to learn the proper response in Twitter fights. A quick sarcastic comment followed by the mute button, and that person no longer exists. That's all you have to do. And Kevin Durant hasn't learned this, and this is after back-to-back finals MVPs. He still has to convince the world of his value, and it just makes no sense at all.
Clinton?
Is that advice from Tom Kalishaw or Tim Kalishaw? But overall, let me tell you something. As somebody that is the charter member of the Never At Me Alliance, I am here for petty Twitter beefs at all time. As you might like to say, Michael, he had time that day. Yeah. All right? So if you come into his mentions, he's going to let you know I have no problem with KD doing this. This is part of the entertainment product of the NBA, and I love it.
I'm fine with the slide in the comments. That was funny. You already put the kid in check, Bill Plaschke, but to go into the DMs and go back and forth, you're the two-time reigning finals MVP. The kid is 17 years old.
Never had him.
It's all about the names he mentioned in the Instagram. It's all about LeBron James and Steph Curry. Those are considered as shadowing. They have shadowed Durant his whole career. He thinks about that. It's like mentioning Woody Page to Tim Kalishaw. It's like, it's a big shadow, and he can't get over it.
Woody, speak for yourself.
Well, I'm with Clinton. I enjoy getting into it. Teenagers, they should be put in their place. He's having fun. The only answer and solution to this is make this NBA season longer so he doesn't have the kind of time that he had. But he's just enjoying himself. What's wrong with that? We've been criticizing him for other things.
I get that he's just being a regular guy.
Makes him look bad.
I wonder if long term, maybe after this next season, these sensitivities and this paranoia and him trying to prove something or get validation may lead him to make some kind of move, some kind of major move, still searching for something that even with 2 finals MVPs and championships, he still hasn't gotten in Golden State. I don't know.
Michael, we got to go here. We got to go.
Michael.
It's my house, at least for the next 3 weeks. We'll see y'all coming up. Old habits die hard. What can I say?
Allie's mom knew she had a strong kick even back in the womb. And from then on, Allie was always kicking a ball and saying she was going to play pro soccer. And one day, while she was kicking a ball against a wall, her skills drew even more attention. Her boss said, "Could you please stop that and get me those quarterly numbers I asked for?" Turns out Allie just wasn't that good at soccer. But she was a good accountant. That's why she switched to Geico. She knew they could save her a bunch of money on car insurance. And she sure wasn't ever going to make that pro soccer money. No, sir.
Buy or sell.
The home run derby field is set. Bryce Harper of the hometown Nationals and 7 first-timers. Jesus Aguilar, Javier Baez, Alex Bregman, Freddie Freeman, Reese Hoskins, Max Muncy, and Kyle Schwarber. FYI, none of this season's top 5 home run hitters are competing. Boston's Mookie Betts says, as is, the Derby needs to go and be replaced with something like a fielding skills competition. Bill, buy or sell the field and what it does for this year's event.
As much as I love the fact that Mad Max Muncy is in there, I am selling this home run derby, the entire home run derby, because the whole first half of the season has been a home run derby. That's all this baseball is home runs and strikeouts. Let's draw lines in the field and have a hitting against the shift derby, hitting from the opposite field derby, single up the middle derby. How about something like that?
Something we don't see often. I like it. Go ahead. Woody?
Bill wants to watch infield practice at the All-Star game. Oh, wow. I can't wait for that. Why are you being a small sport? I love the home run derby. I've loved it since it was on TV in the 1950s. But you just got to be creative. Make it different every year. I think it's fine. This year it should have been Ichiro. Tebow brought up. Russell Wilson. Maybe a couple of actors. Next year, the home team versus the best of the league. 2 years from now, minor leaguers versus major leaguers. Do something different every year.
I love you being solutions-oriented. I like none of those solutions, but I love you being solutions-oriented. Go ahead, Tim.
Yeah, ESPN can't wait to promote the Fielding Skills Challenge the night before the All-Star game.
Okay.
Thank you, Mookie, for that suggestion. Here's the thing. I don't want to get rid of the home run derby. I just don't like this field. How, with all the American League power hitters, is the entire American League represented by Alex Bregman? That is it. It's 7 against 1. Who came up with that?
Clinton?
Woody, the guy they needed, as I told you guys on this show, was Shohei Ohtani to be in this thing. That would have been exciting. But as far as all the other field is concerned, they're actually interesting ball players. Rhys Hopkins wears a double ear flap on his helmet, for goodness sakes. And Javi Baez is one of the most exciting players in all of baseball. If you had a fielding competition, he'd be in that one too. If we're not there for the home runs anyway, you get to learn about some fun ball players. It should be a good one.
All right. Remember that crazy, speaking of Alex Bregman, that 11th inning walk-off from Tuesday we talked about in yesterday's show? That moment only existed because Ken Giles blew a 3-run lead in the ninth. Giles also appeared to blow a gasket at A.J. Hinch as he left the mound. Now the Astros closer has been demoted to AAA, with Hinch calling it a baseball decision. He said he's not right. Hinch said of Giles and his 4.99 ERA, we need to get him right mentally and physically to make sure he's a good contributor to our pen. I'd say he's not right. My man punched himself in the face back in May. Woody, buy or sell the demotion and it helping Giles?
Yeah, and emotionally, physically, mentally, and emotionally, he's got to get back. You're right. He had a temperamental fit earlier in the year, and then against your manager. I think it was both because of what he's doing on the mound and what he's doing to himself and his teammates. Can he get back? He had a meltdown in the World Series last year and was taken out of that role, and it's really carried over to this year. I don't think he's going to come back this year in the way he was.
Tim?
Yeah, Ken Giles has only been right for part of the time he's been in Houston, some of last season, but as Woody said, he fell apart in the playoffs. The Astros are getting by without a true closer. They just throw out different guys to finish games. The rest of their team's great, but they need to get rid of Giles for a while.
Clinton?
Andy showed up as manager. It was bad. It was on camera. It was obvious body language-wise. There's a reason my dudes cover their mouths with their gloves when they talk on the field, so that you can't actually see what they're saying. It was too obvious. He made them look bad.
All right, what about you, Bill?
The guy can still close in big situations. He's 12 saves, no blown saves this year. He just needs to get his temperament under control. The Dodgers did the same thing to Yasiel Puig a couple years ago. Sent him to the minors in the middle of the season to get his emotions under control. He came back great. This will be great. Woody, you're wrong. He will close games for the Astros in September. I guarantee it.
All right, we're going to put you all down for that. As I'm sure Tim Collishaw knows, Texas Rangers All-Star Shin-Soo Choo has reached base safely in a franchise record 48 straight games played. Evan Grant of the Dallas Morning News questions Jeff Bannister's move to sit Choo in 2 of the 3 games against the Red Sox this week and wonders whether Bannister was protecting the streak in not pinch hitting Choo against Craig Kimbrell last night in the 8th and 9th. Bannister denied any malfeasance, saying, "We are in this to win games." Tim, you buying or selling Bannister here?
Why can't we just leave the Rangers alone? What did they ever do to anybody? I mean, just put them away. They don't need to be here. Yes, it was embarrassing last night. They're protecting an on-base streak. Most teams can't even tell you who their all-time on-base streak leader is. To bat Ryan Rua instead of him in the 9th, that was just crazy.
Clinton?
Which is why I'm selling this. Is he going to tell his grandkids in 20 years, oh, remember when I was in the bigs for X amount of time and I was on base for 30-odd games in a row? Nobody cares about this. It is low on the totem pole of streaks in general. Never mind what it should mean to this team. It's a bad idea.
All right, Bill?
He's batting .333 this year with the bases loaded, and he sits on the bench with the bases loaded and doesn't come off as a pinch hitter. That's absurd. And what the bad thing about this is Choo wants to do this. He's ready to play. He was ready during the game, he said. So it makes him look bad, and it's not fair to him. The organization needs to think better than this.
All right, Woody, last word.
Totally disagree with you guys. This is a meaningful streak to the Rangers and to the rest of us. Imagine when it gets to 56. That's a very magical number in baseball. No, but it's not going to be on that level. But I think Tim, as you know, he's the Lone Ranger this year. You've got to protect the Lone Ranger without putting himself.
That's a long way for a bad joke, Woody.
How does a man dominate a show the way you did yesterday and
what happened?
Torpedo his chances to Woody later, bruh? Clinton, I'm in my feelings. Tim, Bill, see y'all in a minute.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Here we go. Yes, sir.
Before you hit the road for any vacation this summer, visit GNC. You need to stay healthy, and GNC has the highest quality solutions and supplements in the industry. GNC brand products pass up to 150 quality checks. You can be sure you're getting the best prices with GNC's price match guarantee. GNC doesn't just match prices, they beat them by $1. Or try something new. If it's not right for you, return it for a full refund. You heard it right, a full refund. This summer, live well with GNC. Exclusions apply. See an associate or GNC.com for details.
Back to the Instagram comments section where the real news happens. Isaiah Thomas commenting on NBC Boston's A. Sherrod Blakely. Call me, bro. His post from Vegas McCarran Airport. Tell Boston I'll come back for a year. LOL. But for real. Bill, should Boston bring IT back?
Yeah, you know what? Why not? He was out here with the Lakers last year. He was a humbled, hardworking guy. The young guys loved him. He was a good example in the locker room. He was good with the kids. Yeah, bring him back.
Tim?
I don't see this as a good idea. They've got Kyrie Irving. They got Terry Rozier. Marcus Smart plays point guard some. And Thomas was so great the last time there. He's never going to play at that level again. I think other teams should want him, but I don't think the Celtics.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, Tim. Nice memory.
Oh.
Let it go.
Yeah.
Find yourself somebody who loves you as much as my man here loves mustard. Dollar hot dog night, and life is amazing. It is as it should be. Gets a call from a friend letting him know he was on TV. Smooch from the missus. That's relationship goals right there. All with the mustard. Tim, what's the lesson here?
Mean Mr. Mustard has an issue here, and it's not just that he has mustard on his face. It's not that close to his mouth. How is he applying it? You have to be very careful when you apply mustard. You don't get it all over the bun. You got to get it behind.
No, this is yet another
the
example, and all due respect to Colonel Mustard there, it's another example of how when you go for the condiments, you go for the ketchup. Ketchup doesn't stain as much. Ketchup doesn't look as bad. It tastes better. Forget the mustard. You would not have any problem if there's ketchup on this thing.
I'm a mustard guy. Tim Collins,
Oh, God.
unbeatable when he's in FaceTime against somebody other than Michael Smith. Take the FaceTime.
That's right. Oh, thank you for that. We talked about the Texas Rangers. Okay, they're a last place team, have been all year, will stay there. You know, there are 7 teams with having worse years than the Texas Rangers. Baseball has a tanking problem of its own. It's different from the NBA's. It's not so much predicated on the higher draft picks, although teams don't mind that. Everyone's trying to copy some combination of the Astros, Royals, or Cubs, take their roster down to nothing, and then build back up. It's created a terrific imbalance in the league this year.
All right, let's go do it. Clinton Yates, 0 for 3 this week, player.
20 seconds.
I'm a winner in my mama's heart, Michael.
We'll see y'all tomorrow. Come back around.
Allie's mom knew she had a strong kick even back in the womb. And from then on, Allie was always kicking a ball and saying she was going to play pro soccer. And one day, while she was kicking a ball against a wall, her skills drew even more attention. Her boss said, "Could you please stop that and get me those quarterly numbers I asked for?" Turns out Allie just wasn't that good a talker. But she was a good accountant. That's why she switched to Geico. She knew they could save her a bunch of money on car insurance. And she sure wasn't ever going to make that pro soccer money. No, sir.